She came to appraise his antique books but didn't know her own heart would receive the highest valuation. He protected a centuries-old legacy. She sought professional success. Their worlds collided during an Irish storm.
Subscribe to my channel and like to receive new stories.
The Irish rain fell in a soft, persistent drizzle as Lisa Reynolds navigated the winding country roads in her rented car. As a senior art expert for London's prestigious Chamberlain auction house, she was accustomed to assessing valuable collections, but this assignment felt different. The email had been brief. Evaluate the O'Connell Library collection at Glenmore House, County Kerry. Potential undiscovered treasures. Her first sight of Glenmore House took her breath away. Not because of its grandeur, though the Georgian manor had beautiful lines, but because of its haunting beauty. Ivy climbed weathered stone walls, and the gardens whispered of better days. But it was the man splitting wood by the stable who truly captured her attention. "You must be the assessor," he said, wiping his brow without offering his hand. His Irish lilt was melodic, but his eyes were guarded. "Kieran O'Connell. The books aren't for sale."
Subscribe to my channel and like to receive new stories.
Lisa Reynolds. "And according to our records, your late uncles will specify the collection should be appraised." She maintained her professional demeanor, though something in his stance unnerved her. Inside, the library was a time capsule. Floor-to-ceiling shelves held leather-bound volumes, their gilded spines glowing in the dim light. But water stains marred the ceiling, and the scent of damp paper hung in the air. "Your uncle's collection is remarkable," Lisa said, running a gloved hand over a 15th-century illuminated manuscript. "But this room is destroying them. The humidity alone." "These books have survived wars, famine, and 7 generations of O'Connells," Kieran interrupted. "They'll survive a leaky roof." Their work began in earnest the next morning. Lisa set up her conservation equipment while Kieran watched with open skepticism. But when she showed him how ultraviolet light revealed marginalia unseen for centuries, his resistance began to soften. "The monk who illustrated this was named Brother Michael," Kieran said unexpectedly one afternoon. "He had a pet raven that would steal his ink pots." He pointed to a tiny bird drawn in the margin. "Family legend."
Subscribe to my channel and like to receive new stories.
Lisa looked from the ancient drawing to his face. "How do you know that?" "He told me," Kieran said with a faint smile. "Not in words, but in the way he drew. You just have to know how to look." Days turned into weeks filled with similar discoveries. Kieran knew every book's story, every ancestor who had held it. Lisa, in turn, shared her knowledge of preservation techniques and art history. The tension between them transformed into something else, a mutual respect that grew with each shared discovery. The storm came suddenly, as Irish storms often do. An ancient oak branch crashed through the library's roof, sending rainwater pouring onto shelves of irreplaceable books. They worked frantically through the night, moving volumes to safety, their hands meeting repeatedly in the urgent rescue. When the last book was safe, they stood soaked and exhausted in the dim dawn light. Without thinking, Kieran reached out and brushed a wet strand of hair from her face. "Thank you," he whispered, his hand lingering against her cheek. The email from her boss came the next morning. Complete assessment immediately. Important client interested in entire collection. Offer substantial bonus for quick sale. Lisa found Kieran restoring the damaged roof. "They want me to value the collection for a private buyer." His shoulders tightened. "I see. And the substantial bonus. How did you?" "The walls are thin, and you were on the phone late last night." He turned, his expression unreadable. "I suppose congratulations are in order."
Subscribe to my channel and like to receive new stories.
The taxi arrived exactly at noon. Lisa placed her suitcase in the trunk, trying to ignore the hollow feeling in her chest. Every book she'd packed for shipment to London felt like a betrayal. The driver started the engine. "To Shannon Airport, yes." Before she could answer, Kieran appeared in the doorway, his expression grim. "Wait." He strode to the taxi and spoke quietly to the driver, who promptly turned off the engine and stepped out. Kieran opened Lisa's door. "Get out." "What?" "Get out of the bloody taxi, Lisa." There was raw emotion in his voice she'd never heard before. "You can't go." "And why not?" she challenged, though her heart was pounding. "Because this," he gestured between them. "Whatever this is, it matters. You matter." He led her to the one part of the house she hadn't seen, his private study. Unlike the formal library, this room was warm and lived in, with comfortable chairs and personal artifacts everywhere. "My ancestors were collectors, but they were also storytellers," he said, pulling a small, worn journal from a drawer. "This was my great-grandmother's. She fell in love with an English soldier during the War of Independence. Choosing between him and her family almost destroyed her." He looked up, his gaze intense. "I don't want to spend the rest of my life wondering what if." The kiss started gently, a question asked and answered. But weeks of suppressed longing quickly turned it urgent. His hands framed her face as if she were one of his precious artifacts, then slid into her hair. Her fingers clutched his shoulders, pulling him closer. Later, in his bedroom with afternoon light filtering through the windows, they explored each other with unhurried reverence. His calloused hands traced the planes of her back with surprising tenderness. Her lips discovered the scar on his shoulder from a childhood accident he'd mentioned weeks before. When they finally joined, it felt less like a beginning and more like a homecoming. The months that followed transformed both Glenmore House and its occupants. Lisa negotiated a unique arrangement with her auction house. They would handle select pieces on consignment, providing funds for restoration while keeping the core collection intact. Kieran, inspired by her belief in the collection's value, began writing the book he'd always put off. One evening, as they catalogued a newly discovered box of letters, Lisa found a sealed envelope addressed to her in Kieran's handwriting. "I was going to give you this tomorrow," he said softly, "but now seems right." Inside was a deed making her co-owner of Glenmore House and its collections, and tucked behind it, a simple platinum band.
Subscribe to my channel and like to receive new stories.
"My ancestors spent centuries collecting beautiful things," he said, kneeling before her. but you're the only treasure I want to keep forever. The library, once a place of professional assessment, became the setting for their new beginning proof that the most valuable discoveries aren't always found in ancient books, but sometimes in the pages of one's own heart.